Good evening, guys. It's Saturday, March 16th. My name is Dave Coker, and this is Talking About Finance. Now, this is the place to be. This is the place to me. And if you're like me, if you like wealth, if you want to get rich, but you reject the popular way, the brain-dead way, the risky way, the ineffective way of just buying stocks. Whether they're indexes or you're trying to stock pick, it doesn't really matter. No. You're more selective than them. You like stocks, yeah you do, we all do, but only stocks that pay you to own them. Dividend-paying stocks. Stocks that after you buy, you get something. You get something every month. You get something every quarter. Maybe twice a year you get something, or even once a year you get something. And that something is cash. Now, my favorite payout frequency, as I mentioned many times, is monthly. I got to get paid monthly. But really, guys, as long as you get paid, it doesn't matter how often. Just make sure you get paid. After all, and this is philosophical, that is the entire purpose of life. And don't let anyone fool you and suggest knowledge or inner peace or any other crap. You need money before you can consider any of that, before you can achieve any of that. So make sure you get paid. If you ain't getting paid, you ain't going to have no inner peace. And if you ain't getting paid, you won't have any way or time to gain knowledge, because you'll be trying to figure out where the next meal's coming from. Consider getting rich the sure way, the slow way, the way that's lower risk. You buy cash flow. But let's now turn our attention to finance and talk about finance. The S&P 500 dropped 13 basis points, 0.13% last week. 4 sectors outperformed the index, with energy and materials leading the pack. Energy was up a walloping 3.84% on the week. 7 sectors underperformed the index, with discretionary and real estate coming in last, and real estate was down some 2.8% week on week. The VIX traded down on the week to 14.41, started at 14.74. It's still below long-run average of roughly 19. Nothing to see there. The 10-year note closed the week at 4.31%, down 0.2% on the week, and down 0.4% year to date. Oil closed the week at 81.02, up 3.9% on the week, and up about 13.1% year to date. Looks like Mr. Biden's got some inflation incoming. And once again, I bought Bitcoin yesterday. The old-fashioned way. No ETFs for me. And you know, it's a good thing I didn't try. Talking to some buddies, I found out they aren't yet available in Europe, which is fine by me, as people don't need to hold the real Bitcoin. As I told you before, I'm a little suspicious about putting money in the hands of Wall Street, says the ex-Wall Streeter. And although the ETFs are good for those who are new to the space, you might want to consider at some point breaking off and purchasing real Bitcoin, not through an exchange-traded fund. Oh, and guys, check this out. I might slam buy next week. And you know, I don't really like to do that. I rarely do it, although I sold all my Ripple for my initial batch of Ripple, I made 25%, and the second batch of Ripple, I made about 50% return. So that wasn't too shabby. But I sold all that and slam bought Ripple, about 3 weeks ago. And next week I might slam buy Bitcoin, as some cash came in unexpectedly. So it's best not to save it. I really haven't been putting any money in the stock market for about 9 months now. I'm very nervous about that. Even dividends that I get in the States are just piling up. So I think I'm going to stack sats with it. Yeah, anyways, that's my opinion of what I'm going to be doing. We'll have to see how it goes. So let's take a look at what me and my buddies, some 50 or so finance professionals from all around the planet, talked about last week. And just so you're aware, we're Global Wall Street. And between Telegram and our personal networks on LinkedIn and WhatsApp, we know everyone, absolutely everyone, in global finance. And this week we're reporting from Wall Street, we're reporting from Los Angeles, we're reporting from Seattle, we're reporting from Miami, And we're reporting from Chicago. It's an all-American roundup tonight. We have people everywhere, absolutely everywhere that matters. So let's go. 7 slides for 7 days. And next week, we're all going to buy more sats. We may buy even more sats than normal. And at that thought, I'm telling you, I'm getting all excited here, guys. So let's go. Now, it's interesting because people have this obsession with appearing well off. And yeah, it's easy to look rich. People just put this accoutrements on. I have no idea what half this garbage is, but people put these accoutrements on and yeah, sure, they can appear rich to people that give a toss about crap like that. As I shared with you, I have no idea what all that stuff is. But if you want to get rich the real way, there's a dip. Buy, or even better, just regularly buy Bitcoin. That's the only way to be sure of getting rich. And here's a proverbial question, guys, about selling Bitcoin. So I thought we would answer it definitively this evening. Should you sell your Bitcoin? Well, there's 2 answers, no and no, but in red. Why would you sell Bitcoin? Unless you're desperate for cash, and we could talk about things you could do with Bitcoin other than sell it, you honestly shouldn't sell it. Look at the people that sold Bitcoin at 30 cents, at $10, at $100, at $1,000, $10,000, even $30,000. Yeah, they're kicking themselves. You don't want to be doing that, guys. Buy and hold. The tactic here is just not buy silly amounts. Buy whatever you can afford every week, every quarter, every month, whatever the frequency is. Just buy regularly and never sell. It's just like a stock in the sense that when you buy stocks, guys, you should never sell. Buy and hold forever. And then if life intervenes and you got to sell the stock, that's one thing, but plan from the outset not to sell it. Same thing with Bitcoin. Plan from the outset not to sell it. And because the upside of Bitcoin is so amazingly high, so large, plan to never sell. That really is the best approach. And I do get to ask this question from time to time, and people find it hard to believe when I mention I'm never going to sell. About an exit strategy, yeah, well, it is my exit strategy. And I did write an article last week, it's online, you can find it, about Bitcoin. I do believe going forward, I'm aware of financial institutions that are working on this now. You are going to be able to stake your Bitcoin, but not lose control of it like you have to do when you stake other cryptocurrencies now. So you're going to be able to stake your Bitcoin, and then the entity that controls the structure you've put your Bitcoin into through a multi-signature wallet, multi-sig it's called, they're going to be selling covered calls or other tactics to help monetize your Bitcoin. Yeah, it's that simple, guys. So wait for that. Try not to sell any Bitcoin. The day is coming when you'll be able to make money even off your dormant holdings. It's tougher now. I understand that. Yeah, just wait and that'll be it. And when this comes, it's going to be a big change to the existing structure. Not a change like this. You know, we did want to change to the monetary system. I am totally disgusted the way they just continue to pump inflation into the global economy, the Western economy largely, and then they deny knowledge of it, our elected leaders. Mr. Biden calls it Putin's tax. It's really bad what they're doing because, think about this. If you're middle class, upper middle class, lower upper class, if you're in that upper echelon, yeah, it impacts you, but it's not that severe. God bless the people at the bottom. They get screwed over in a major way. The US dollar, and I've written articles about this, you can find it, has lost 17% of its purchasing power over the past 5 years. It's lost 40% of its purchasing power over the last 20 years. It's lost 97% of its purchasing power since 1913 when the Fed was founded. They continue to play this game of ignorance, and yet they're the ones that authorize expansion of the money supply. It's really out of control. So yeah, here's the change. Get some. Don't play the old game. The game is changing. One way or another, it's going to change. We'll have to see what happens here. Yeah, and this was the dip. Remember, this week we had a drop and a lot of people were chortling. If you look on the right-hand side, just to the right of the arrow, you can see the dip. Can you see it? Get a magnifying glass out there. Actually, I'm being flippant. If you look up my article that I wrote on, I believe it was Wednesday, I try to write every day. Well, actually, I do write every day, most days, for just retail people. I do write every day for my banking clients. But the point is, if you look over there, and I did an article where I looked at it over 2 days, 5 minutes, yeah, it's a drop. It's a drop about, well, when I did the article, about 8.9%, a little bit more severe before it started trending up again. And even now it's been moving up. I tend to watch the price of Bitcoin like when we go out to dinner and stuff like that. It's trading about 67,500, well, 67,480 and 38 cents. But who's counting? Nobody cares, right? So just buy, guys, and hold over a long period of time. Look what Bitcoin's done. I can only source data I can reproduce going back to 2014. Although I do have the data, I just can't publicly distribute it. I could put it into a model, but that wouldn't do you any good. But just look going back to 2014, and you should be convinced of that, about what's going on. And yeah, I know I talk about Bitcoin a lot. And this is a good one about, if I ever gotten kidnapped, I think they would get tired of me pretty quickly. I hope as much. I would help them learn. I would help them understand how to get rich, and it's not from collecting a ransom. Buy yourself some Bitcoin. That's the way to do it, right? And finally, PlanB is a good guy. I got a lot of time for him. He does get a lot of grief on Twitter. It's typically from mouth breathers that don't know what in God's name they're talking about, in my experience. But there's different models here. And you can see the R squared, the explanatory power of the model. It's pretty damn high, speaking as an econometrician. It's substantial, it's startlingly high. So these models that he put together, the stock to flow in particular, it has the highest explanatory power. And yeah, stock to flow is predicting wonderful things for Bitcoin by the end of 2024. By the end of 2025, all the way out to the next halving, even more magnificent things, guys. So just pay attention to the stock to flow model. Watch what it's forecasting. Get your head around what he's saying. It's not difficult. He does excellent graphs, and he is an approachable guy in terms of explaining things, but you just can't. He's got a lot of followers. He gets a lot of questions. Like most of these really popular content creators on Twitter, he'll answer like half a dozen and that's it. He zones out. Can't blame the guy. But just pay attention to what he's saying and do yourself a favor. Buy some Bitcoin. All right, guys, that's it for this evening. You're going to have a wonderful week next week. Remember, you're going to stack some sats. You're going to buy some stocks and get paid. When you get paid, you're going to use the money to stack more sats. And it all comes together, guys. We just got back from the pub. They're gearing up for St. Paddy's Day over here. Tonight was a little busy, not too extreme. We talked to our waitress, and she's raring to go for tomorrow. It's going to be it's going to be interesting because a couple of the pubs, they got 2-pound pints, which normally a pint is like 4 to 5 pounds. So yeah, that's it. It's they're going for the early knockout, I think. I'm not sure why they're doing this, but we'll see. Take care, guys. Have a wonderful evening.